welcome Erik Therwanger.
Woo. I love the energy in here. I have a quick question for you. Has anyone experienced any stress in the last 3 years? All right, I'm just checking. How many of you know somebody that's experienced stress in the last 3 years? Yeah, okay, somebody, right? We have. How would you like to eliminate stress in the workplace? Right? How would you like to transform complacency to urgency? How would you like to see morale, performance, and results skyrocket? You know, as a business coach, I do more than just develop leaders and train sales team and inspire audiences. I have a very unique opportunity to unleash the business warrior in all of them. I share tactics, military tactics, that allow us to unleash the untapped and often unlimited potential that exists inside of all of us. And there's no greater time than right now for all of us to do that. You know, when I left the Marine Corps, I eventually worked at an entry-level position at a media company in Santa Monica, California. And within 18 months, I became the vice president. And we eventually grew to over 300%. And in that process, we elevated morale and buy-in and excitement, and we eliminated mistakes and errors. And it was amazing. And none of the people there had ever served our country, yet they were able to unleash their business warrior using simple tactics, just like you can, just like your audience can. And you don't have to enlist. How great is that? But it's going to start off with a couple questions. In your organization, first question, in your organization, what do you consider to be the greatest asset? People. How many agree people are our greatest asset? Okay, everybody. All right, and an applause. I like that. Thank you. So number one, people are our greatest asset. Number two, how many of you have ever worked with somebody who didn't give it their all, who wasn't engaged, who could have brought their A game but didn't? Have we been there? So we've just identified the two foundational commonalities of every business in every industry. Number one, people are our greatest asset. And number two, people can deliver greater results. And that's what I love to do. I love to unleash that in people using very small tactics that lead to big results. Now we have to understand that in our organizations, there's two types of people. There's business workers and there's business warriors. Business workers aren't bad people. They typically show up to work, which makes sense if you pay them, right? You expect them to show up. Sometimes some of them show up late. Sometimes some of them show up and don't work as hard as they should, but they show up to work. But business warriors are different. Business warriors show up to win. They never show up to work. They show up and they have the desire to unleash their best, to champion your organization, to champion your mission, your vision, and your core values, to champion your plan, to champion your goals. And what I've learned by assessing businesses all over this country, we need more business warriors right now. We need more people who are eliminating complacency, creating urgency, and teaching people how to bring out their best. And people want it right now. And you've probably felt that. Now, when I first talk about sharing military tactics, I think a lot of people get nervous. And they think that we're going to go on obstacle courses. They think we're going to go into the gas chamber for training. Or maybe you're picturing drill instructors yelling at you. And when I went in 1987, they did a lot more than yell at you. They called you all kinds of names that I promised Holly I wouldn't say here. And if you messed up, they punched and kicked and choked you. And you may be thinking of people who need that in your workplace right now, but don't do that, because that will absolutely get you arrested. I do not transform businesses into battalions. I help people to unleash the best that they have. And there's a great opportunity here right now. You know, we're coming out of a long 3 years. And the best part is most people want to unleash this. And so our opportunity is very strong right now. And we can actually look at what the opportunity very simply is by looking back at when civilizations first evolved about 5,000 years ago at the beginning of recorded history. And civilizations had 4 things in common. Let me share the first 3. They created cultures that unified people. They created a social hierarchy so people understood where they were in the society and how they could contribute. And they created industry. They created tools for farming and hunting and fishing. But then they did something spectacular to ensure that their organization, their civilization, if you will, not only survived, but thrived. They forged warriors with a very small percentage of people. And inside these civilizations, eventually organizations and businesses and corporations evolved. And it was natural that we duplicated what the civilizations did. And so you see corporations form corporate cultures. They want to unify their people. They create organizational charts to show the placement of their people to support the goals, and they have production, ways to generate revenue. But here's our opportunity. Most organizations don't forge their people, they merely hire people. We have the opportunity to forge people, and people are in the position, the mindset right now where they want to be forged. They want the tactics to unleash their best. And we can do that because I believe it's time to unleash. Now, I experienced a warrior transformation. My warrior transformation was a civilian to military warrior transformation that occurred in 1987. And yes, we had our drill instructors and they taught us a lot, and some of the things I can't share here, maybe on the break, but I can't share right now. But sometimes they were just simple tactics that had the biggest impact. And maybe you've heard some of them, like this one here. You can help me out with this. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late. That's where I learned it. And that was one of the first techniques, the first military tactics that I started to apply in the business sector when I started in an entry-level position at the media company. And guess what went away? Attendance issues. And even though the media world was much different, we worked with MTV, HBO, South Park was our client. Media was definitely different than the military, but the tactics still applied. Another tactic is that in the armed services, there's many departments or divisions or branches, and yet they have a one-team mindset. They're all part of the same mission. Now, okay, anybody here serve any veterans out there? Okay, we give each other a little grief. But at the end of the day, we have a one-team mindset. We're all on the same page. We're fighting for the same mission. In businesses, we have many different departments. And what I've discovered is there's a lot of silos. There's infighting. There's us versus them. And there doesn't have to be. Now, you're not going to do joint operations, but there's some things that we can do internally, like cross-training, interdepartmental cross-training, where we can learn how to walk a mile in somebody's shoes, how to understand their challenges, and how to find solutions together. Now, I've got to implement a very important tactic right now. It's called double timing it. I'm going to share with you a few tactics before I leave the stage. Military tactics that your tax dollars are already paying for that you can have a return on. How many are involved in the hiring process? Okay. So hiring is recruiting in the military. It's the lifeblood of the military, and they have to recruit over 200,000 people a year. And what I'm showing you here is a way that the Marines find out how the motivation of the person they're hiring matches the mission. In the workplace, sometimes leaders are just looking for a warm body. You ever heard that one? You can't look for a warm body. We got to teach people how to do better. And so these are the benefit tags of the United States Marine Corps. And they lay them out in front of the person that they're trying to recruit. And they want them to put it in order that means the most to them. They're looking for the person that puts the intangibles as the priority, which I've highlighted in red here. And the intangibles show that that person's motivation, internal motivation, might match their mission. And so what I teach business leaders how to do is to create the business tags, the benefit tags that they need to find out if motivation lines up with the mission. How many have ever accidentally hired the wrong person? All right, we don't like making that mistake. All right, now if you've ever been to a military installation, nobody just casually strolls onto a base. There's guards that guard the gate. They guard it to see who's coming in and what's coming in with them. But I find all too often in the business sector, people just casually stroll into the workplace. How many have ever had somebody come into the workplace that brings in negativity or frustrations or personal issues or gossip or drama? Now, I'm not recommending that you post a gate guard. But what if you could learn some tactics? Teach those tactics so that there was an at-the-doorway mindset so that those coming across ensured the success of the rest. All right, and as I double time it, we've all heard of the phrase squared away. The military squares things away, not so things can look good, but so people can perform at the highest levels. In the business sector, I call it tour ready. I show organizations how to get their people in that tour ready mindset because performance will elevate. And at the end of the day, we don't want to hold inspections as much as we want people to excel in what they do. All right, and last but not least is recognition. Recognition is so important. In the military, they use very few forms of recognition, but the challenge coin awarded out by commanders is held in the highest regard, awarded in the form of a handshake, and displayed by team members when it's received. And we have the opportunity to do that. We use that at Think Great Now for our leadership program. Now I'm going to end on the benefits of having business warriors. They energize your culture, they lift others up, they champion your plan, they love to compete, and they focus on winning. I just wanted to say thank you so much to Holly, to Nationally Speaking for an amazing event, and I believe it's time to unleash. Thank you so much.